All right, let's get started. Would you all please join me in a prayer and a pledge of allegiance? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for a new day. We thank you for health that allows us to be here and for a chance to work for the citizens of this city and this county. We ask your complete provision here and giving us direction on this agenda. Each and every item is important. We pray, Lord, for the decision that will be in the best interest of the people of this community. We pray for our first responders here throughout this country. We pray for our servicemen, our servicewomen. We pray for unity within our nation, Lord, that will enable us to progress and be the great nation that you have made us. We ask for your forgiveness. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, for the record, today is the first meeting of the month of November. This is the 13th, November 2017. It's just after 9 a.m. We will begin with an invitation for any public comments or requests for non-agenda items in accordance with our Open Meetings Act. Anyone have anything they would like to address the court on at this time that's not on the agenda? All right, we'll move to approval of a couple of sets of minutes. Item number 2 is to approve the minutes from our last regular meeting, which was the 23rd of October. That was 3 weeks ago on Monday.
Make a motion, we approve them.
Motion is made by Commissioner Parker to approve that set of minutes.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The second set of minutes is a week after that, or 2 weeks ago. This was a special meeting that we had, a couple of agenda items on it to discuss and approve stop-loss insurance premium for the calendar year 2018, along with consideration of a software purchase for the maintenance barn. Those were the only 2 items on that agenda.
Make a motion, we approve them.
Thank you. Commissioner Parker makes the motion, and second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 4 is a report from Roger Ledbetter, our road engineer. Welcome, Roger. Welcome, Philip. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we're continuing to mow and with 4 hours. We completed Precinct 3, Precinct 4, and Precinct 1. And we currently have all 4 mowers working in Precinct 2. On County Road 3150, we completed the larger base failure areas that we reworked with the grid roller and have overlaid this section with coal mix. We plan on seal coating the 3150 next summer. We will continue to concentrate on pothole repairs throughout the county. Still in the process of cleaning up the Champion maintainer so we can sell it. We plan on selling it at the Ritchie Brothers auction in December in Fort Worth. We will have to pay a 10% premium to sell it. A representative from Ritchie Brothers thinks it'll bring between $34,000 and $45,000. So it sounds like we sell it to them, I think we'll get a pretty good price for it.
10% a typical premium on this stuff?
Well, apparently it is with them, yes. Now I think, what was Auctioneers Express? Was it 8%?
I think it was 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was 8%.
But you could set a limit on Auctioneer Express, but you can't do the other.
No, you can't set a limit here.
You can
reach a lot of people now. I mean, worldwide.
you can put a reserve on Auctioneer Express, but you can't with Ritchie,
No, you can't
right?
put a reserve here. These are unreserved sales. But it does reach a lot of people. Okay, we reworked the base barrier on County Road 1475, approximately 200 foot long. This is the area where cars are dragging bottom. This one near Jack Smith's house. You know where that's at now? We had the fly ash base. mix it in with Bomag and pack it with our soil compactor, and we plan on servicing this section next summer. I don't think we can put anything on it right now. We went out and looked at it this morning, still looks in pretty good shape even after the rain. You're not making any tracks in it or anything, so.
That fly ash sets up pretty good. You're mixing it with, what'd you say?
We're just mixing it in with the roadway that's there. And it works pretty good.
Sets up hard fairly quick.
Yes.
On this 3290, can we do that the same with the trucks coming through there? Because it's getting really...
Yeah, we probably do the same. I don't know how far we can push it.
Right. Well, like I
You
said,
know, this road, we didn't have any trucks on. We got one for trucks.
right. Well, we pack it more.
3290?
3290, I wear it, that way keep them off 3250, because they've been coming down through there saying that the roads are not fit to drive on.
Okay. Yeah, 3290's got a bunch of pavement in place. It's been scarified, it's got a bunch of fly ash base in place.
Well, like I said, if you just put that, that's, there's no houses, very few on that one stretch, but, it wouldn't matter to, get them to pacify them. Then we had to call them every day.
Yeah. You ain't been hearing from Judge Crooks, have you?
No. Just had a hard time getting hold of pilgrims.
Yeah. We still never did figure out how we make them. Didn't we?
Well, there's a no truck sign through there, been there for a long time, and I don't know there's no, I can't find paperwork saying what they agreed to and what they hadn't agreed to.
Okay.
But they know that they're not supposed to come down that road.
But still do.
Just a few of them.
Yeah. And this winter, we plan on concentrating on potholes, side cutting, tree removal, and removing limbs and other debris from the right of way. Y'all have any questions for me?
Anybody? Question, comment, direction for Roger? Very good.
The only thing, you might write down, Roger, I've got 2 calls, and I called Philip and talked to him about it the other day, 4805. It's a dead-end road, but I went down there the other day and looked at it again, and the trees...
North of Casey?
No, it's right there off of 49, east of 1735.
What was the number again?
4805. One of the last houses down there is girl called me twice, and it's got a lot of the trees are growed out over the road. And right there, as you turn off the road, there's a house with a couple of trailer houses behind it, the first house on the left. And where they turn in and out, the roads eat up pretty bad right there, too. So.
Also, Roger, I appreciate y'all getting that stop sign and on 2510 and then 2512. They had a fire there Friday. So, they were able to go straight to it.
Good.
Our stop sign, our sign, our road numbers and stuff was all down there, and they got it up about the middle of last week, I think it was. But anyway, I do appreciate it, because
Yeah, if y'all know y'all see any of the county road signs missing, call me.
and I've got 4 or 5, and I'll start writing them down, but that where they're sitting up there, this bottom they're leaning over real bad. I'm sure that bottom sign's broke or about to break.
Yeah, a lot of them still is those fiberglass.
Right.
They've been
They're
breaking
the
at the bottom of the
fiberglass and
bracket.
stuff. That was some of the first ones we put up. That
Yeah, I noticed a lot of
fiberglass
fiberglass.
went to the metal and much better results.
Anything else?
I didn't get anything.
All right. Thanks a lot. When is that auction? Early December?
You remember?
I believe it was the 10th through the 12th.
Okay. All right. Cross our fingers. We've got the appropriate title for that already. for that? Is there a title for a big vehicle like that, that piece of equipment you're selling? We have the title for it?
Owner's title?
Yeah. I mean, I assume they ask you for that.
Christie should have.
And we have to haul it over there? Or do we?
Well, they can come pick it up with no charge for it. We can haul it ourselves.
Okay.
We have to do it.
We've got the equipment to do it with our stuff. That's what we plan to do?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
I don't remember what the charge to haul it, but maybe
We just spent
$1,500 or something.
We just spent $70,000 buying a truck and a lowboy to haul it on.
Yeah, that's good use of our equipment. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's bump up here a couple of items here. I've got a couple of high-ranking officials from our police department. I'd like to get them back to work. So let's jump to, I've got two of these. Let's start with item number 10, and then we'll briefly discuss the UHF antenna in case you have any questions about that. But Chief, tell us about what's going on here with the future plans for an animal shelter and what you need from the county to help bring this to pass and help us to have the information we need when people ask why this thing is so expensive. Because
it doesn't cost the county fiscally any money. City Council has approved the building of a new animal shelter. Currently, we take in animals from the county as well. Well, not currently, we do take in animals from the county as well. The shelter that we have right now, we have a lot of zoonosis problems, disease control issues. We have a lot of, the facility was not designed for animals under current standards by the state. And we struggle with keeping the facility open just because of the state audits that we go through. The new facility that we're looking at is a $2 million facility, but it will triple the size of the facility. It triples the amount of animals that we can hold. We put animals down simply for space. We adopt out throughout the United States. A large portion of our animals actually go to New York once a month. We have a big 18-wheeler that comes in, and it's a kennel type of 18-wheeler, and they take them to New York. We adopt to Colorado. We adopt throughout, like I said, the United States. We have airplanes that fly in sometimes and pick up animals. So we have a great network in place on adoptions. Problem is housing and cleaning the facility, staffing, and volunteer space. We have 0 volunteer space right now. So the city, we've been debating this for several years, and the city has decided to build a new shelter. One of the things that we're looking at is location. We need a great location inside city limits. We can't be out on the outskirts, we can't be out in the county. We need to be a place where we can have basically a pet store, where the public comes in, feels very comfortable, it's a clean facility, and the facility meets the needs of the community. And through the site search committee that we put together, one location, or most of the locations would all cost us money in the project, but right here at Industrial and Enterprise is some county property. And if you look at this area right here up against Industrial, this is all floodplain right here. This area is high right behind the old jail.
show them, to get your bearings, that's the back side of the old jail that the sheriff currently uses for storage over there.
Here's the barn.
And Enterprise is the entry into the industrial park.
Here's Industrial, all newspapers right over here. The facility, people have asked why is it going to cost $2 million. This room right here, let's say costs, let's say $10,000. For it to be an animal shelter in this room, it's going to cost about $30,000 because we have to put wall after wall after wall after wall. We have to put in plumbing for each kennel. The type of epoxy that we have to put on the floors is expensive. It's a 20-year epoxy. The ventilation system has to be recurring air. It has to pull it. So many units have to be pulled out of that to stop diseases. So the filtration system is very expensive. This facility is not a Taj Mahal. It is bare bone. The backside will be metal. The front will have a nice facade. We went with a short front to help reduce costs instead of a long, elongated building. For the public to see, they're only going to get a small section to see up front. This facility has a solid board. Currently, whenever we bring in animals, we have escapes because some of these animals don't want to be with us. And they fight us to get into the facility. At least with the solid board, we shut the doors. And it's caged. It's not a closed system. You'll keep the animals from getting into the escape. So we have those type of issues that we have to deal with. And we're dealing with people's property in a lot of cases. And we have to protect that property when it's in our custody. The facility itself will be a tilt roof, flat roofs can leak. This doesn't show is the guttering system, and the parking lot itself is very limited, just to save money. So what we're asking from the county is donation of the land. It's about 4 acres. With your approval to move forward, if you decide to donate this property to the city, is we would then have a survey done and for the architect to come back with the exact dimensions of the site itself. What you see in front of you has some dimensions on it, 325 by 560. Architect didn't take it all the way out to the road. He took it to the tree line. So those numbers could change. I don't know where the pins are in the ground or anything like that. But the area that's the floodplain, I'd like the county, if you're so inclined, to donate that to the city as well. The city would like to be able to put a dog park in there or walking trails to acclimate animals to our area, get more people to draw into that area, which would bring more people into the shelter itself for adoption events. There's grants out there from time to time. That's what we could start searching for. But the area right here as well, here's the drop-off point. If we have to expand, we would come out this way. That would be years way down the road. And if we have to expand the parking lot, it'd be over here. So that's why we're asking for this section right here. And this barrier buffer right here, there's no plans to put anything back here, but the buffer, we would, there may be a point where we have to put up a chain link fence. We don't know yet. Coming down this way, sometimes we have issues with the public bringing animals to us after hours, and we've had to take some steps at our current shelter. We don't know if we'll have to deal with this year, but sometimes the public doesn't obey the law and will dump animals on us.
The floodplain is that western end of this property that's lower, that really is not buildable. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
Correct. Yeah, we can't even bring a road in this direction. It would cost us way too much money if we were to try to come in this way because of this gully that's all the way through here.
Okay.
So that's why we chose to come in off of the industrial. It would be eventually a signage down here, a sign right here for the facility itself.
Well, you've got a very nice road there on Enterprise
Very
that
nice.
makes a
Beautiful
very,
entrance.
very good entrance there off of Industrial. About 2 acres of this is buildable. You're asking for 4 to
Yes.
put dog park there in the floodplain at a future time. $2 million facility. Again, I think what we can do is be ambassadors for the city and explain to people why that building is so expensive. Is it sprinkled? Is that a
It will be
sprinkle?
sprinkled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but it's essentially a metal building.
Metal building with a brick front, and it's going to look nice, but the materials that we're using on the outside are cheaper than bricking the whole building.
Okay.
I just can't afford it.
Yeah. And this is the second proposal that you'd gotten. The first one was considerably more expensive, and you asked him to...
Extremely more expensive, and the architectural fees, the site work itself, were, they weren't willing to come down. The profit margin was just way too high.
Okay.
Who gave us this one?
This one is Brevard Architectural Services out of Longview. He actually helped design the Longview shelter. And the other one was out of Arlington. They're a national organization, one out of Arlington. So they have a huge following.
All right, questions for Chief Isbell on this before you consider your vote, or if you're ready to vote? He's asking for 4 acres. If you have any questions about where that is, good time to ask. Otherwise, let the chief know if the county will help toward this project with the donation of 4 acres.
Is there any grant money out there to help with something?
Everything's right up front.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been like that for several years.
Well, I'm familiar with it, and we've talked about it, and I'd make a motion that we give it to him to do what he proposes to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion's made by Commissioner Riddle to donate approximately 4 acres as presented here to the city of Mount Pleasant for the purpose of construction of a new animal shelter.
I'll second him.
Second by Commissioner Parker. Any more discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, looks like that is unanimous. We thank you very much. Before you leave, I'm going to jump to item number 6 to consider and possibly approve the purchase of a new UHF antenna for the communications tower. And I think I'd left you all a memo here. The city is constructing a new communications tower to improve what we've got. It's got old equipment attached to that, including an old antenna that serves our county radio communication, and they do not want to put that old antenna on this new tower. And if we would like to replace that antenna in the event that we will sometime need to continue to communicate with one another by radio, we'll want a tower to house that new antenna. So if you have any questions about cost or where this tower is going to be, the tower's in the same place, is that right?
It's just right next to it, just on the north side of the current tower.
And it goes from 300 feet to 350,
Yeah.
is that right?
This new tower will be 350 feet.
Okay.
It's going to be a 3-legged tower versus a 1-legged.
Okay. All right, so this does not serve the sheriff. This would just be for communications within the
Yeah,
commissioner's
one of the
network.
things that we brought to everybody's attention is if you want to be down for maybe a day or two, then we'll move your antenna over from the old tower to the new tower. We're at the mercy of tower crew. If you want basically a unplug and plug back in, then you would need a new antenna installed on the new tower. The contract that we have with Verizon is city. we buy the antenna, but if we were to use your old cabling from the current system, let's say you're at 200 feet right now, tower moved over 50 feet, so now you're at 150 feet of cable. So that's why coupling. Couplings are not good for coax cable. So we negotiated with Verizon to install all the wiring, new wiring, at their cost. And really, all we have to pay for are our antennas. So it's a great deal to get new equipment at a very low cost for just a simple antenna.
Essentially, you provide the new cabling and the installation at no cost to us, providing the actual piece of hardware, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, where's Roger gone? We don't use it at all. I've tried to use it. I guess the only radios we have is in the equipment at the county road hands, and I tried to use it, and it's just so much more convenient to use cell phones. We never have used it, huh?
Our purpose is really served is if, we have a tornado or something comes in, wipes out the cell phone towers. Hopefully this one's still standing, we can use it for emergency situations.
If it not,
And we use it for communications with the sheriff department and the fire department together.
the sheriff department, how's the sheriff, I thought he was on a different antenna system.
He is.
Everybody's got this is UHF that we're on. The fire department and sheriff's department are on VHF. And that will, should have one radio that's got a VHF channel in it also, that you can use, for, to contact them.
In disaster, we all work together. We'll have to use those radios to do that.
Well, I guess you can't prepare for everything.
Without this, would we not be able to communicate with our radios?
They're at a limited distance because it has to hit that repeater. If we don't hit the repeater, maybe y'all can help me with that. It's only like a 1 mile or less than a mile.
It's direct.
Yeah, you're working off direct.
So it's like that direct is usually, I don't know, depends on how strong the radios are. It could be up to, half a mile. I mean, it's garbage.
Yeah, it's very limited if you don't hit that antenna.
Yeah.
We
I
have,
don't know why, I mean, you said something about if you unplug and plug back in. If we're down for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, we really won't notice it. So if we can save money by doing it that way, we're good with that too.
That's whatever you want to do. It's going to cost Verizon more to go up the antenna, the tower, come back down, and you're using an antenna that's been there for God knows how many years, and they do deteriorate and capabilities over the years. If y'all don't use the system, why put it up? This is up to the county. It's a good deal to get new equipment up there,
If you need it.
if you need it.
what you're looking at, of course, in Bridges Chapel area back there, when that tornado hit, we had a person killed out there. That night, I think we were, because we were in a precinct we were not used to, but without the radios and communication, we'd have been in big trouble out there.
Yeah. Just a simple note here. For me to hire a tower crew to come out, a professional tower crew to climb the tower to install an antenna, $5,000. That's how much it costs. So,
To come back and add it later, you mean?
yeah, that's what it cost me. When we did we're about to go digital, at the city. And we did a test on the digital system. It cost $5,000 to get the tower crew up there to install these in the stores for the test.
Well, once we have a disaster all over the county, communication is the key to saving lives as far as I'm concerned. And without that tower, without your radio, and say that you know, of course, there's some things that can happen that can knock out anything. But I do know in emergency situations, we were able, the fire departments, the sheriff's department, we can talk to anybody. And I know it's not used much. Everybody's went to the cell phone. But in a disaster, you're going to need that system to some degree somewhere.
Because we all go to the command center, when we're all in that command center, we're all working together. We use those radios for communication, so.
Well, we good?
I don't know if we can't pick up our phones and call people. I mean,
Well, if
we
it-
never practice doing that, you know, we've always used the radio system to, you know, in our disaster.
Well, if it blows down all the cell phone antennas, it'd probably hurt that one too. Probably put it out of commission. We have a tornado. We could even have a flood like it did in Houston, heck. But you can't prepare for all of those. That's overkill as far as I'm concerned. But it's not our money. It's just the taxpayers' money. Heck, let's just spend it. It's the way we do all the time.
Is that your motion? Suspend it?
No, that's not my motion. I think it's overkill. My motion is I don't think we should buy it. If you want me to make a motion.
All right, we've got a motion from Commissioner Riddle to pass on this and not install a county UHF antenna on the new tower.
That not even put the old one back up either?
That's for you to consider. Did you, I thought I understood that was not even a possibility.
No, it's a possibility. Yeah, they can take it down, put the other one up.
The
I
service
don't
may,
recommend it, Motorola doesn't recommend it, but I don't know how old their antenna is.
Okay.
Do you have a lot of static issues on it, or?
The last time we had it checked, it was no static.
Would that cost us anything?
No.
Okay.
just be down for a few days there while they're moving it from one tower to the other.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the sheriff's department, we can't be down. So
Yeah.
that's- I mean,
Yeah, y'all
it's
can't be
critical
down.
infrastructure for us to be plugged in, unplug and plug in.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor.
Could I withdraw that
Sure.
motion, and if they can put the other one up, we'd be down a week or two.
So don't spend the new one, use the old one,
Yeah.
no cost is the motion.
That's it.
I second that.
Got a second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Was that a aye? Okay. I'm gonna vote no. Okay. There you go. Thank you.
I'll tell, Crosspoint.
Well, good luck with this new shelter project. We appreciate the city footing the bill on this sizable building, and we're grateful that you provide that service for us.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you something about this shelter real quick. I had a situation one night, it was about a year ago, where somebody threw the mama dog and the puppies out. Was able to give a puppy away, so people were stopping, we had the road blocked. Because we were afraid the puppies were gonna get run over and stuff, and trying to get the dog in the truck and stuff like this. When we have something like that at night, is the shelter gonna be open where we can, like, bring those?
No, but
Or
what happens
we need to make a
is,
call.
what happens is, we routinely get calls from a deputy, and one of my officers will meet them at the facility, and we'll unlock it.
Well, I took them home with me and kept them till the next day and put them in the bin, put some stuff in there, and then I brought them up there the next morning. But I just looked out and the person let me borrow a cage to put them
the
deputy was there.
Yeah.
We had a deputy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you all. Let's jump back to item number 5. Charlie Smith is here with the Industrial Development Corporation to talk to us about another tax abatement agreement with Prefert Manufacturing and developing a reinvestment zone. Explain all that to us, Charles.
Good morning. The city created a investment zone for a new construction that Prefert Manufacturing is engaged in now. They're constructing a new 39,200 square foot building. This is on the north side of what we have called their tube plant. And specifically what this will do is house a inventory of finished tube product. And the construction or the project itself includes the building and a inventory, what would you call it, a crane, et cetera, to move the inventory picking system where they can keep their tube located there. So this has been in the plan. It is construction of this tube facility, addition of the tube equipment, which we did last year, and now this is a inventory maintenance facility next to it. They are physically attached. So we have the reinvestment zone created. All we need, and what we're asking the county to do is participate on the tax abatement. As we've talked before, the tax abatement is for the single facility only, that is this building and the equipment. It is a partial tax abatement. It is 90% of the property tax, in this case, from the city and from the county, if the county approves it, for 3 years, and then it goes to 75% for 2 years. This is within the tax abatement policy that the city and the county have adopted.
After 5 years, it goes back
Full
up
value.
to full value. So 5-year abatement, 3 years at 90%, 2 years at 75%, and then it's on the rolls at full value. This is a project totally different from anything we've discussed in the last few months with you.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the only thing that's really different about this project is that normally they are, the equipment in the building are in sync with each other. In this case, the building will be finished and before the equipment is installed. So we've staggered the start date for each. The building will start in 2018 tax year, and the equipment will actually start in 2019 tax year.
They feel like they're going to be on track to get this building done. Does it have to be completed in 2018?
Needs to be completed by January 1 of 2018.
And they think they can do that? Okay. What's going to be in this building?
This is tube, in the steel tube.
Just inventory? No construction, no manufacturing going on in there?
That's correct.
All right. Okay, do we want to grant this tax abatement for the reinvestment zone for Prefert Manufacturing
I
Company?
didn't mention, normally you asked 5 new jobs for this particular project.
Okay. But the value of this building roughly is
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million.
For the building and the equipment.
So even without considering jobs, you got $2.5 million of value going on the
That's
tax
right.
roll. Okay. Motion's made in support by Commissioner
Second.
Fields.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor of supporting the reinvestment zone for Prefert, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Joan, are you prepared to sign this if I sign it for Charlie, or do you want to just do it at the end of the meeting? We'll do it at the end of the meeting.
I'll come get them. Sure.
Okay.
I will. It's fine.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Y'all have a nice day.
Thanks, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Okay, because I've got Paul here now to discuss a particular item, let's jump down to item number 11, consider and possibly approve hiring a part-time security officer to provide security for various courts to comply with recent legislation. Sheriff, you want to give us a summary of what we talked about in the meeting with the we had the two district judges called this meeting, and at that meeting were also the sheriff and Carl Johnson and myself.
The thing is, guys, remember.
Sorry,
I know
Christy. Christy was there too.
Now, I think this is already in place because we've had one up until, they just never rehired somebody when one quit. Now, I've never heard anybody disapprove of this, still actually should be active before we can hire somebody.
Well, I think that there was some recent legislation changes in September, but we did have a situation where apparently we thought we had somebody that was going to be there. It's these days when we have these multiple courts going on over there in the annex. You can have CPS courts, you have a court going on in the district courtroom, and AG court can be going on back there in the back, and we've got to be able to provide security for these people and not run the risk of, like we had happen a few weeks ago, where one of these courts, a visiting judge, in fact, had no court security on hand.
Because they can, we've actually had to go over and make arrests before people get over, sometimes that creates, especially on the civil courts, on the divorce courts and stuff, it can get pretty tough. But now, I didn't realize, I guess we use legislation, but now remember, does this come out of the security fund? So it don't come out of our general budget, it's already, it comes out of the security fund money, but the court really needs that. In fact, we've had it up until about a year or so ago when the last part-time quit, but even with, it stays so busy over there, even with the part-time help, I still have to send my guys over to help also sometimes, so it's really needed.
And we had talked about,
come out of the fund, the security fund.
and we talked about them letting you know in advance when these days that you were going to need additional personnel to be provided. Now, if that comes out, how you say we can pay for this with security fund, and I agree, but what would that look like? A reimbursement to the sheriff's office based on how do we pay payroll out of security?
How we transfer money, we have a transfer into his account that offsets the courthouse.
Okay.
So when they turn their time sheets in, they just tell us how much of that we paid accordingly to that line.
And then you reimburse an amount that covers that wage plus payroll tax?
To see, because we won't know till the end of every so often how much they're going to utilize it. So we just kind of do that accordingly through the year.
And remember, we've had this is nothing new. We've actually had this position for several years in there. That's why I was kind of wondering why we're redoing it, because that position's been there, we've been doing it. But anyway, it is, it's bad.
Even if it involves multiple personnel from your office?
No, sir, not that. I'm just talking about one part-time position that we're asking for here. And usually when we get people over there from mine now, what we'll do, since we've got the person part-time, they don't need us as much. We'll send Clint Bain or Tracy Hayes, one of our investigators, or something. And on days when we have a big docket call or a big trial, then we'll send investigators, we'll stop what we're doing, and we're helping. It's going to be
But that was, what you just said there was exactly part of the conversation. There may be situations, in fact, there will be situations when you're providing more than one, even as many as 3 people. And on those days, we want the court to know that those wages, I guess those guys will be there anyway, but you're taking them off of their regular duties to put them over there.
Yeah, we'll pull Clint or Tracy or somebody help that, so it won't be any extra cost.
Okay, so we're not going to reimburse that?
It's not going to be from courthouse security then.
Yeah,
The only thing that was going to be from that if they had overtime. And then that would be the only thing, and we're not going to have.
Okay.
No, not with this part-time. We can get Woody back in there, work part-time, no, it won't be, we'll just use, so
Have you talked to Woody about this?
yeah, he's ready to go.
Okay.
He was there Thursday.
Yeah. But like I say, this position, it's not new now, we've had it quite a while, actually.
Okay.
We've had that in.
Well, if we get to the point where we're using your guys, that second or even third guy on a regular basis, and we need to come back and talk about, additional reimbursement, we can always do that later.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is to hold the costs down, keep spending any more. As long as we got a part-time Woody in there, it's always worked with me just sending them guys over, because they don't need us as much since you have two over there. And so I mean, as of right now, I don't see the need in putting any money for any more in there, because I think we can do it. But if it does get to that point, I'll sure let you know.
But this becomes a permanent part-time position, meaning that it's going to be subject to at least retirement, but not health insurance because it's under 29 hours or less? Okay.
Now, whenever we were at the meeting, I think we had decided the judges thought that 30 hours a month, 30 to 32, I can't remember, I don't have my stuff, but that was what we were going to budget per month.
Per month, yeah.
And then the hourly rate was going to be the $25.
Right.
Now, yes, we've had that, and we've got the line items in there, we did not budget, so we'll do a budget amendment, and y'all will see the figures on that, and y'all will approve it at that time, but the numbers will have to be approved.
For now, it's based on 30 hours a month, not a week, but 30 hours a month.
30 hours a week, but they were discussing, like, if they may not need them 16 hours a week, and sometimes they not, so they thought between 30 and 32 hours.
Okay. All right. Any questions about this while we're discussing it? All right, Sheriff, thank you for being willing to provide those extra guys when we're tied over there.
I'll make a motion, we do this.
All right, motion's made by Commissioner Applewhite. Second. Second by Commissioner Parker to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Along the lines of security, this is not an agenda item, but since Paul is here and he's got some figures, I want to at least put this before you, and I'll have this on the next agenda for you to think about, but this will give you some time to consider. Paul has brought some quotes for new metal detectors. Okay, Paul.
Having gone to the courtroom security specialist training, which y'all sent me to in September, one of the things that they showed us and brought out were there were some really upgrades to the metal detectors that are out there for screening when you bring them in. I did some work with the Garrett and saw how these metal detectors work. The metal detector we have now is a 5,000. This is a request for a 6,500. The difference between the two is that when someone walks through there after they've emptied their pockets, if they've got, let's say, a gun stuck down the front of their pants, then that metal detector will tell you where the metal's at. Ours now, if you walk through, it'll be, and then you got to back them out and do them over again, have them get all the stuff off. Sometimes you can't even get it all, especially if they say they've got a rod in their leg or something. But it'll also tell you if they're coming through with something in their boot. It'll give you a flash at the bottom.
The light will show up from 0 to 6 feet.
It goes all the way to your head if you've got something underneath your hat, per se. So it's a good metal detector. Really, actually, the price on them is fairly reasonable. We can get 3 of these for around $11,500. You'll notice on there I've also asking for a caster system for one, because what we want to do is sometime before the first of the year have a screening set up for our county court. We process approximately 100 cases at a time when we do, and there is no screening for any of that. People can bring knives, they can bring whatever they want to in here. If I catch them, if I happen to catch them, then I'll send them back to the car. But I don't have a metal detector up here, and that's something that we need to do. Most of your county courts around the state have gone to some sort of system where you actually screen them before you bring them in. That's your first line of defense for having a big problem in your courtroom, is stopping them out there. And I agree 100% with the sheriff. You've got a good setup over there now to screen for these courts. Some of the most dangerous courts are CPS courts and child support courts. You look at the shootout in Tyler down there where they shot the woman, and that's been about 5 or 6 years ago, but that was what it was about. It was a child support court that he was coming down for, or a child custody arrangement. And a lot of times, the security that you have over there is Ken. Ken's a great guy. He's a bailiff in that court, but in some of those cases, we're not having enough manpower available to screen. And they really should be screened at the front rather than just hoping the bailiff might catch something when they come in. So anyway, The casters that I'm asking for is only for one of them, so I can roll that thing in and out of the hallway here. I've talked to the fire chief. He indicates he thinks we can do that without violating any fire code. And so we want to be able to screen them on a particular day, and then we're done. We're able to roll that thing back and get it out of the way. This is probably one of the worst buildings I've ever seen as far as security is concerned, because there's 5 entrances to it, 4 doors, and then an elevator. So, I mean, you can figure you could change the door configuration down there to where you actually had push bars on some of them and only let them in one door, but then you got the problem with the elevator, with the ADA. That's your only American Disabilities entrance into this building is through that elevator. So there are real problems, and hopefully we'll have a security committee that can kind of come up with a 5-year plan on how we can do this. But this is a step in the right direction. The last item on there is the super scanners, and that's basically just upgrading all the wands that we currently have. The wands are what you screen them with when they keep going off that metal detector, and you can kind of narrow down what they've got. It's also what you can stir that person with a little bit, since we don't have x-ray machines to look at. That way the officer's hands doesn't have to go down, and he can actually roll that stuff around like that. So I want to get that on the agenda for next time. This price quote I've got back in, I guess, the end of September, and I've talked this over with Chris Duran and Barrett, the JPs that they'll utilize it. And I've talked to Ken about it, and hopefully this is something we can get off the ground pretty quick, or Barrett said anything.
These 3 pieces of equipment, one for the county courthouse here,
One for the annex, and one for the JPs.
JP, one for the annex. One for the annex is adequate, even though multiple courts may be going on over there?
Well, yes. I mean, because that one you can screen.
Put it at the front
one
door.
time. That's it.
Put them at the front door.
You got one entrance going in, and you can scan it. Yes, that works. And I mean, they've taken, the sheriff and Ken have taken some real strides in making that a secure place to hold court. There's no doubt about it. It probably needs some additional manpower, I don't doubt that, for a minute, that he's having to pull people off the street or put them in there on overtime to be able to cover those courts. And that reserve officer will really help that. I think this screening scanner will help too. I think it'll just move people in and out a lot faster than the old was able to do. But, I mean, if Ken wants that, it'll be there. If we don't want it, we'll just buy 2 instead of 3.
The scanners and the caster, is that included in the 11.5 or is that a separate cost?
I'll see that.
What do we buy them outright,
Yes, sir.
and others we can sell them, whatever.
Well, I asked the jail about, say, the one over at JP's office, 'cause it's still a functioning metal detector, and they thought they might have a use for it in their facility. And so I was talking to Mike, or Lieutenant Garcia about that, and he indicated that they might have a spot for it that they could use that. That's got the total cost on it, so whatever you guys want to, we may put it on the next agenda. If you have any questions about it, be sure to stop down and just ask me. I can tell you what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to, for the county court, I'm going to try to use reserves as best I can. Maybe this reserve officer that's not working over there, not reserve officer, this part-time officer. Yeah, if he's not covering the court over there, perhaps he can help me here. It's pretty hard to screen by yourself. You're going to have 2 people to do that screen, at least 2. And so, anyway, you can get ready. It's not going to be cheap. I know that. But if you want a little more security for your court, that's what you're going to have.
And Garrett's giving you a 30% discount on all this stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Just out of the goodness of their heart, I think. I'm not sure, because we looked at a metal detector that was a pole metal detector. We were going to try to use it out here. It's got some drawbacks to it, but it's still a pretty good metal detector. And the main thing about it is small. Well, they wanted $12,000 for it. So, to me, I think this is a better route to go because you can get them a little more reasonable price.
Is there,
It's just too expensive. I mean, you know, you've got some money you can get around that. Right. Yeah.
is there much,
Right through, like,
is there much maintenance to these things, Paul?
Not that I know of, not any that we've done so far. Yeah, not any that I know of. The 6,500, when I went to the training, they had a set up down there. What we were doing was screening when people came through, and they had people try to hide stuff to get through. And they had an old 5000 there too, and man, you just finally give up because it was too hard to find people. And so what the 6500 did is it focused you on where you were going to find that metal at. A lot of people will go through and do something in their boot, and they'll say, oh, I got steel-toe shoes on. Well, take the shoes off, because you don't have to prove that. And so, I mean, you know, that's what it really amounts to. But no, not that I know of, but there's hardly anything that's ever gone wrong with those ones that we bought in the past. They're very, very reliable. Very reliable.
Thank you, Paul. So hang on to that. We'll put that on next agenda for you to consider. Thank you. All right, let's go back to item number 7. Consider possibly take action, construction repair projects. I've got 3 listed on here that we've discussed before. Commissioner Riddle, any updates on any of these 3? West wall of the annex, front wall of the annex, or our flagpole?
No, but I have a question. Mr. Jones gave us a envelope about the front. We're talking about the black part here in the thing.
Yeah.
And it is a bid, I guess, and I don't know what we should do from that. I don't know, because we didn't ask for any other bids. So I don't know.
And
what to do.
that's just an aesthetic change there to the front wall there where some of that black rock is peeling off. Is that what that is?
Yeah, he wants to replace most of it, though, the whole thing.
Why do we need to do that?
He thinks it'll all come off, but there is a problem even with that. He thought that that it looks like granite or genuine imitation granite above it, a white stuff. He thought that was plywood, but it's not. I mean, I say it's not. I don't believe it is, and I think I've convinced him it's not. Somebody hadn't got up there and pecked on it, but I think it's marble or fake marble. And and he didn't include that in his bid, so, or in his price, so I don't know. What do you think it's fake, Barbara? Well, I thought you was going to say something. I don't know.
Well, is that strictly aesthetics, or was there some kind of repair maintenance issue to that front of the annex? Or is that just changing the appearance?
Just change the appearance, and it's falling off. I mean, that stuff is falling off. It's got big hunks.
Then there's some wood behind there. There's some places where you see
wood, and then it's interesting because the other side you can see this side, east part of the building. It's brick, and you can see the brick. It was a brick building. I mean, you can. Some of the cracks that's out.
What are you suggesting that we do there? Remove all that old stuff and take it back down to the brick, or what? Well, I'm not sure I understand the scope of that project, item number C.
That's what he's recommending, and I think that's going to be covered in his bid, except that he missed the top part up there.
What was he asked to do?
Well, a guy come out here. I think you might have. I think you knew him. He was doing the everybody's furniture, and they call that stucco. It's not called stucco. It's some other.
Drive it.
Drive. And that guy. And so Jones had him down here, brought him out here, and you see that looks awful good. And I think that's what Jones is recommending we do here, which would look good. It looked like the courthouse.
Well, I understand Jones recommends it, but did we or did you say, would you look at the front of this and give us a bid to do what? Change the outside look here?
Oh, I didn't even know Jones was involved. Nobody, maybe Mike did.
So we just got a contractor who'd like to do some work for us here?
That's what it looked. I don't know. I thought somebody else lined him up. The guy was out here to put that stuff on that did everybody's furniture.
Well, I thought we were talking to them about that back west side of the wall.
Yeah, we were. That's the only thing I had even talked to anybody about was that.
So why don't you ask Jones what exactly is in this bid? I mean, if we want to do work to the front of the annex, then let's bid it out and discuss what the court wants to do. I personally am not interested in doing any work to the front wall of the annex at this time unless there's a repair issue.
Right.
Back there on the back wall, I think we decided just to let it be.
Yeah, and again, I think I told you that the city, Aaron's, says that
Eventually
that sidewalk's going to
yeah.
be pretty, and we can
Well,
get
I'm going to
rid of.
remove that one from the list, and
Okay.
unless you tell me to keep that front wall after you talk to Jones, I'm going to remove that one also.
Okay,
So that leaves flagpole. Any flagpole progress?
not a thing, and they haven't called me back. The people that did the work out here, and she said
Okay.
she'd call me, and I put in a call 3 times.
Do you still have her number?
Yeah,
Could I give her a try, maybe?
sure.
All right.
I got it.
Okay, anything else we need to add to this list that you know of?
Judge, the only thing I can say about that front wall, there's some spots that's come off, where there's wood showing behind that black. I don't know what it is. The guy that you're talking about, when I walked over there that day, but you could see wood where maybe a chunk would come out or something. I think we need to look at it and decide what we need to fix.
Well, before we open that bid, I just hate to put Richard at a disadvantage and disclose his bid if we're going to come back and decide we want to bid that project. So let's get an understanding from him. Hey, if we open this envelope, what are we going to find here?
I don't have a
And then
problem
you
with
can
that.
consider, do you want to hire Richard to do work on that front facade?
We had that conversation this morning, and I asked him, I said, is this a bid? He said, yes, it's a bid. And I said, well, I don't know whether we should open it or not.
Why don't you look at it, just you, rather than disclosing it publicly, and see if he has, and you don't have to do that here in the meeting, then you can decide, is that something that you want to bring back to the court? Okay. All right.
Is there any progress on the mold out there? They've discussed we'll do that at the maintenance barn?
I've talked to Keith Kryler about that, and he says he don't think it's any further, but he's going to cut it off and fix it. He's already agreed to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say is if Richard got that guy to come look at that other wall over there, that stuff is the way it's made. If it gets a little hole in it and water starts getting in there, it'll start deteriorating the whole thing. I found that out there. I didn't know that much about it till out there at school. And the guy that come and fixed it, he told me, he said, if you've got a small hole in there and it lets water get down in there, he said that it'll start deteriorating from the inside out. And he said it'll all just collapse. And that's what actually happened out there. We had a place up on that front wall and it was getting water in it. And we got down there after had a little windstorm, and the whole wall didn't completely fall, but it just separated from the building and was hanging out there. And that's what we had to do.
Yeah, we've got some separation over there, but it's been like that for a pretty good while. All right, let's move on to item number 8, consider and possibly approve payment of a pauper's funeral. Let me tell you about this one. What I've tried to convey to the funeral parlors here is that the county wishes to participate when we have an individual who does not have friends and family, and there's no really interested person to take care of that. This doesn't exactly meet that, but we have at times extended this consideration in similar circumstances. We have an applicant, Curtis A. Traylor, is the father of a deceased Bobby King. And Mr. Traylor came up to see me, as well as J.C. White with J.C. White Funeral Home, and Bobby King has 0 assets available. Curtis Traylor indicates he does not have the ability to pay for this burial of his son. We do have a signed statement from the paupers Pauper's Funeral Provider, which is J.C. White Funeral Home, and I asked him to sign this, and it says, J.C. White Funeral Home has not received any form of compensation for the funeral services for Bobby King. If any compensation is received, we'll notify the judge. I've been asking them to do this because I don't want the county supplementing a funeral with $950 if the county just wants to have a little bit better funeral and they want to get whatever they can get from the funeral, for the funeral. So in a case like this where the county puts up $950, that pays for about as basic as you can get. It pays for a cremation of the deceased, and that is it. There's no service involved, there's no casket involved, just basically the cost of picking up the body and cremation. So we do have a family member here. We have a father, and we have a Bobby King deceased. And we have a funeral home that is asking for the county to consider payment of this amount. $950 is what we have been paying.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion's made by Commissioner Fields, second by Commissioner Riddle to pay J.C. White Funeral Home for this funeral. $950. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Item number 9, we've got a consideration of a sale of property that Tim has brought to us. I have received a bid for the purchase of the above referenced tract of land, which has been previously struck off at a delinquent tax auction to the County of Titus as trustee for the taxing entities of Titus on April 4th, 2017. The bid is for less than the amount of the judgment, which led to the sheriff's sale, also less than the appraised value. A Miss Yesenia Paco has offered $1,300 for this particular piece of property, which I'll describe further in a moment. The judgment was $2,369. The taxable value on the rolls was at $3,517. This is a vacant lot on West 2nd Street in Winfield, just a single lot. $1,300 is the bid. This is from the adjoining property owner. To date, there has been no further interest in this lot. I recommend acceptance of this bid to place the property back on the tax rolls. So a lot, residential lot in Winfield, lots 11 and 12, block 1, actually. $1,300 is the bid.
Judge, I know where that's at, and I don't have a bit of problem with that. I make that motion to put those,
Okay.
set that price and get it back on the tax roll.
Motion is made by Commissioner Fields to accept this bid of $1,300.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, Christie, item number 12, consider and possibly approve COBRA insurance rates for 2018. I don't. Thank you. Okay, as you'll recall, we voted to approve a base plan and a buy-up plan, and here are the COBRA rates. These are rates that a employee that leaves the employment of the county would have the ability to continue insurance coverage if they were willing to purchase that from the county. And you can see on the base plan that ranges from $892.50 all the way up to $1,452 if they wanted to cover themselves and their entire family. Then you've got the two other bids, children only or spouse only. Then you have the buy-up plan rates there.
Do we have anybody on COBRA at this time?
I don't think so.
But these, we have to approve this so that there is a fixed, defined amount that they would pay should we have somebody that needs this on a temporary basis. How long are they eligible to stay on COBRA?
18 to 36 months.
How much?
18 to 36 months. 36 months is different, I have to look at the rule on that, but typically it's between those two.
So if you will, let's approve these rates.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion is made by Commissioner Applewhite to approve the 2018 calendar year COBRA rates.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 13 is our oral and written reports. How many more do you need?
I wrote all the other ones.
You closed out the park fund, and what did you do with it? Just put it back in general fund?
And you'll see, also like on the precincts, 1 through 4, the money that was left at the end of the year that they could not spend, we transferred that to Fund 20. You'll see a budget amendment probably next quarter.
All right.
Reflects that.
Make a motion, we approve the oral and written reports.
A motion for approval is made by Commissioner Parker. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Treasurer's report. Cheryl, item 14.
Thank you. I make a motion, we approve the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Commissioner Parker moves for approval.
Second.
Second is Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Christie, do we have any budget amendments? None today. Item 16 is to pay our bills.
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Commissioner Applewhite moves for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 17, closing comments. I can't think of anything this morning. Commissioner Riddle?
No, sir. No.
Commissioner Fields?
No, sir.
Commissioner Applewhite? Or Commissioner Parker?
No, sir.
All right. Anyone in the audience left with a comment? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn when you're ready.
Make a motion.
Motion is made by Commissioner Applewhite, second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you.